Hello? Yeah, this is Clay. Are you kidding me? Holy cow. Woo doggies. All right, I'll let them know. Thank you. Howdy, folks. Welcome to the first episode of Urban Cowboys Behind the Scenes Secrets. I'm your host, Clay Phillips. Many of you know the world-famous movie Urban Cowboy, and many of you have seen it multiple times, bragging that it's your favorite movie of all time. John Travolta played Bud, Deborah Winger played Sissy, Scott Glenn played Wes, Madeline Smith played Pam, and the all-endearing character of Uncle Bob was played by Barry Corbin. All these actors went on to have high-profile careers in film and television. But wait, there's one very important role I forgot to mention. Marceline. That sizzling redhead, Sissy's best friend, maid of honor at her wedding to Bud, ultimate two-timer and backstabber. Her bedroom scene with Wes Hightower, that notorious convict from the prison in Huntsville, was movie magic. Connie Hansen, who played Marceline, has eluded fans for years, until now. My team and I was able to catch up with Connie, and she has agreed to give us an all-exclusive interview. Are you ready to hear all of Connie's Urban Cowboy secrets that she's now ready to reveal? Well, so am I. Let's get started.
How the girls all get prettier at closing time. How they all begin to look like movie stars. How the girls all get prettier at closing time. When the change starts taking place, it puts a globe on every face of the fallen angels, of the backstreet boys. Oh, no. The fallen angels, of those backstreet boys.
Are you a real cowboy?
Depends on what a real cowboy is.
Know how to two-step? Want to prove it? Okay.
I bet y'all know all these words by heart. Welcome to our project, Urban Cowboy Behind the Scenes Secrets. I'm your host, Clay Phillips, and I am here with one of the most awesome royalty members of Urban Cowboy, Connie Hansen. And it is such a lovely, lovely time that we're going to have here, and we really appreciate you letting us into your home. And I just feel in awe that we are I consider you royalty in the movie industry.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That really means a lot.
You are absolutely a beautiful woman, and time has actually, in my eyes, have stood still.
Well, that's a fantastic compliment for someone my age, I promise.
Well, you look lovely.
Well, thank you for coming to my home and giving me the opportunity to connect with the fans that I know have been out there for many, many years, and they probably wondered what happened to me because I never participated in all of the gatherings and all of the Urban Cowboy reunion things. And so I guess they think I'm a recluse.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to age myself here. I'm 51 years old, and I've been watching different things from time to time on the Urban Cowboy scene. And I've got to tell you, back in the early 80s, when this came out, I was still in I was still in middle school.
Wow.
So I was still playing sports and in school, and I didn't even know that any of this stuff was going on. And I just watched something here not too long ago, and this whole entire thing was an occult following. It was a big, huge frenzy. And I heard on what I was watching here that it was even going to possibly be bigger than Empire Strikes Back. And I'll tell you what, to have a movie such as this to be put together with a science fiction movie is just unbelievable. You can't even fathom the differences of these movies. And to be totally honest with you, with these particular situations here in the movie, that I heard so many things that Wrangler came out, Lee jeans came out, cowboy hats came out, and I've just got to ask, what in the world is an urban cowboy, and where did the thought come in?
Well, an urban cowboy is someone who pretends to be a real horse riding, steer rustling, working on a ranch cowboy.
Mm.
And when Aaron Latham wrote a story of Urban Cowboy for Esquire magazine, it was just going to be, an article in Urban Cowboy fashion. It wasn't going to set off a firestorm. It wasn't going to, be a phenomenon.
Right.
And you have to understand, and you were little, so you don't know this, but we were coming off of a disco trend. So there were, people that were buying leisure suits, talk about ugly.
That's right.
Leisure suits. And they were going out dancing on weekends, like Friday night, Saturday night. Pretty much those were the only 2 nights they went out to party. And they had the mirrored disco ball hanging from the ceiling. And that was the thing. And John Travolta did Saturday Night Fever. And that was just like the biggest thing. And then all of a sudden, when Aaron's article came out in Esquire, somehow, as fate would have it, it caught on. People were buying the magazine to find out what exactly is an urban cowboy. Nobody had ever coined that phrase, urban cowboy.
That's right.
And so what he did is he visited Gilley's. He visited bars that had, honky-tonk bars that had jukeboxes and that kind of thing, to see what that feel was like, the ambiance of the barroom scene. And that's how he wrote about it. He described what Gilley's was like.
And from what I understand, Gilley's was just a hopping place at that particular time. And there was people coming from all over the place just to relax, have a good time. And what made everybody go to Gilley's to start with?
Okay, to go to Gilley's before the movie, prior to the movie, it was still deemed as the largest country club, barroom country club, dance hall in the world. And so there were people coming from all over the United States, and I guess some from, foreign countries too,
Sure.
But they heard it was the largest ever, and they wanted to see it.
They wanted to be part of it.
It was just,
Yeah.
a thing. It was a thing.
Sure.
But when Aaron wrote the story, his article based on truth, he described how all the people dressed and how they acted and what they drank and what music was played there and so forth. And remember, this was a big, big stage. A lot of bars at that time, in that time frame, had just very small little stages. If they had a stage at all, maybe would hold 3 or 4 musicians, and that was it. Gilley's had a full stage, and it had a house band. So it played every night of the week. It wasn't just a weekend thing.
Now, with me growing up, my folks, they listened to a lot of Statler Brothers and Oak Ridge Boys, and it was kind of a Christian country, if you will. We heard of Larry Gatlin and those kind of guys there. I was just, again, in middle school, and basically what I was looking at is I was just coming into the country scene, and from what I understand, this actually really introduced the country music era, because there was other people like Garth Brooks and
Much later.
much
Much later.
yes, but they're the ones that actually said that this movie introduced them to the country music scene. And there were people that are big time country singers saying that this right here was the country music was going to take over the 80s.
Okay, so if you look back in the history of country music and you look at the stars of that period in the 60s and 70s, you're looking at Connie Smith, for example.
Right.
Tammy Wynette had just taken hold in the 60s. Those people were not urban cowboy people. Okay, they had their own Nashville, Music City, country music thing going on, but it didn't have anything to do with a big dance hall. Okay, and so what happened was when Gilley's hit the market as the biggest country music dance hall period, it started bringing in acts from Nashville. So even people like Ricky Skaggs.
Oh yeah.
Okay, those people, Eddie Raven, Eddie Rabbitt, Mickey himself,
Yes.
Johnny Lee.
Okay.
Gosh, I could go on and on about who. Suddenly, it was like a magnet, and they were attracted to Gilley's because Gilley's was getting all the focus.
Charlie Daniels Band.
Oh, Charlie Daniels. Oh my goodness.
great.
Oh, I'm just saying, all those people that were used to playing a circuit on tour, they were used to going to small venues. They didn't do big arena shows like they do now. They were just small venues, bars, saloons in small towns scattered across the plains. You know, they would be on tour and they'd go from Nashville to Missouri and Missouri to Montana and all of that, but it was all small bars. So what happened is Gilley's was a huge venue. Wasn't outside, it was an indoor venue, but it was huge.
And Gilley's put that little town on the map, if I'm not
Oh,
mistaken.
absolutely. I mean, I wish I could tell you more about Pasadena, but I don't want to get in trouble here. Pasadena, just as you saw in the movie, was a refinery town. So you had all types of refineries scattered all over the landscape. That's what Pasadena was. Well, as you can imagine, Pasadena had an odor to it.
Yes.
Based on the refineries.
That's
and
right.
It wasn't a nice odor. And so people who lived in Houston referred to it as Stinky Dina.
Okay.
So we called it Stinky Dina. So when somebody said, we're going to film a movie in Stinky Dina, you can imagine how people were wondering why on earth would they choose that area to film a movie. But it was all about Gilley's.
All about Gilley's. So speaking about Gilley's, so in this particular situation here, getting into this movie area, what give you the opportunity to be able to have an opportunity in the movie? I mean, where did you learn about that?
Okay, everybody pretty much knew in the Houston area that this movie was being filmed, and it starred John Travolta.
Mm-hmm.
People did not know what kind of movie it was going to be. The gossip hadn't really, gotten around that much. But I was in my car running errands. I was married. I had 4 children.
4 children.
Typical, person running errands like you do. And I always listened to country music on the radio. And it was either Keener, Kenr, or it was Kilt, Kilt. But one of the other, or K-News, KNUZ. Those were our popular radio stations. And one of them was on. And the disc jockey said that there was a casting call for all 23-year-old females to show up at a particular address, which happened to be in the Galleria area of Houston, if they wanted to be an extra in this new movie that they're filming in Pasadena. And they didn't even say what the movie's name was or anything.
Or even who was in it?
No.
Okay.
No. They just said all 23-year-old females who want to be in a movie, basically, come to this address right now.
Wow. That's like drop everything and go.
Yes. So what happened next?
That's crazy.
I went. And I remember that on the ad, the disc jockey that was saying about the filming, he said, bring a picture of yourself. And, you know, we didn't have cell phones with cameras. I mean, it had to be a studio shot.
And you just happened to have one of those in your truck or your car? Or...
No. But I had given I had an 8x10 glossy that I had recently made, and I left it at Evans Music City on Westheimer. And I thought maybe if they kept it on file, if anybody was interested in a girl singer, which I'm a girl singer, that maybe I'd get a call, because I thought, you know, they would know. They had their pulse on the music industry at that time, because they sold keyboards and guitars and drum sets and so forth. And so I went, wait a minute. Okay, the address that I'm supposed to go to is actually on Westheimer. You know, it's like, you know,
Fate?
4 miles. Yeah, fate.
Fate.
But it was like 4 miles, not very, maybe less, maybe 3 miles. But it was on the same street. And I thought, oh, wait, I can go to Evans and pick up my picture. So I, you know, drive my car and run in and say, I need my picture back. And they're like, okay, you know. And so they dig through their files, obviously buried me somewhere in there. Pulled the picture out. I ran out the door, got in my car, and started driving. And I got to the Galleria area, and I parked my car in the Lord and Taylor, you know, stacked garage. And I was walking across the street. And all of a sudden, I went, oh my gosh, what a fool. He said 23-year-old female.
Well, weren't you 23?
Yeah, not quite.
No.
I was, at that time, I was 32, 31, 32.
A little dyslexia.
Yeah, exactly. I mixed up the numbers there. And I went, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I did this. So I turned to go back to my car. And when I did, all the traffic coming and going, I think it was 4 lanes each way, stopped as I walked across the street and rolled their windows down, and the guys whistled at me, all of them. Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
And
nice.
I thought, you know what? Who cares?
Give you that boost of confidence to go back.
Yeah.
Right.
And I meant, who cares? You know,
who cares?
And so it's either I don't go, which is an automatic, no, I don't get hired.
That's right.
Number 2, I do go and they laugh because I'm way too old. Or 3, I get the deal. So I said, all right. You know, I just went, oh. And I, you know, gave the thumbs up to everybody that whistled at me.
That's awesome.
And I walked up the steps to the building.
That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. One last thing before we go. I noticed that you have some, as we would call, memorabilia here. If you'd like to show your fans here what you have on this counter.
Okay. This is what I wore in Urban Cowboy.
The exact same ones?
Every day. Yes, the exact ones. You can see the faded patch at the back. And I know you probably can't tell how tiny they're like so tiny. They're unbelievably tiny, but you can tell how old they are because they're, you know, literally falling apart. But this is what I wore every day on the set.
Wow.
The same pair of jean shorts.
That is really cool.
I had 2 different tops. One was a baby blue, and I don't know what happened to it. but one was a baby blue, and I think I had it on when I was inside Gilley's at the bar folding shirts, Gilley's shirts. And I think I had it on maybe one other place. I can't recall where, but it was baby blue. This one is the peach version. And you can see that this is a large, even though it doesn't look very large, but this is a large. And it's got Gilley's on the front.
Wow.
And the back. Most people didn't know that it came on the front and the back. And they're not on the Gilley's website, and evidently they're not making them anymore. So here's the thing. Clay and I have discussed this a little bit. If you all comment below that you have an interest in owning or wearing a Gilley's shirt like this that I wore in the movie, we're talking about maybe the possibility of having one instead of having it say Gilley's, because there might be some kind of copyright thing, who knows. But have Marshalline, my name, my character name, on it instead. The same style with all the lace trim and stretchy, different sizes and stuff and colors, basically peach or baby blue. Please comment if that would be something you'd be interested in.
Yes, yeah. So her fans, please comment. Put your ideas, put your thoughts in the comments below, and I'd like to talk to the guys. So if you want to set your ladies aside. So years ago, okay, so back when I was a kid, when this was all coming out, back when I was a kid, I had a Farrah Fawcett t-shirt. I know, you can laugh all you want. I wore that almost every day until it fell off. So Farrah Fawcett, and I'm telling you what, Marshalline, Connie Hansen, in my respect, and no disrespect, is so much better looking than Farrah Fawcett ever was.
Oh my goodness.
So what my thought was,
not true,
is with this whole entire situation here, is you guys, if you want one of these shirts, please don't wear it. If you want one of these shirts to maybe put it in a picture frame, put it up on your wall in your den, but it not say Gilley's, I had one with Farrah Fawcett's picture on it. Connie actually has 2 or 3 glamour shots that we can actually put on the shirts. We can screen print on these shirts. And I think that it would be an amazing situation if she would have it signed and you put it into a picture frame and hang it up on your wall. This not only dates back to her childhood or her teenage, if you will, her 32 area, but this dates back into the early 80s, which is memorabilia, and it really puts it into a quote unquote, as you talk about cars, a classic mode. So I think that this would be a great addition to any man's den, man cave up on the wall. So if any of these guys that are watching this, if you're interested in any of this, please put your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll get to that particular part of it. And if there's enough interest, then we'll make sure that we take care of this situation here. What do you think?
I think it's a nice idea. I'd also like to add that I know there are a lot of people, because they've commented on the internet as couples, that they actually dress up when they watch the Urban Cowboy movie.
Oh, wow.
So even if you just wanted to wear something from Urban Cowboy, like the t-shirt that says Marshalline, just in your own home when you're watching the movie together,
right,
that would be fun. Or it might be a fun gift for a man to give his girlfriend, sweetheart, or wife,
yep,
for when they go out dancing. And it would definitely be something, I would think, that would cause a conversation.
Absolutely.
Somebody might say, oh, Marshalline was my favorite character in Urban Cowboy, or, oh no, I like Sissy much better. It's okay. It starts the conversation. But I think it might be something that you might like to have. So just let us know before we make our decision.
Absolutely. Or it might not even be you. Maybe you know some really, really big fans of Urban Cowboy or Marshalline or whoever, and you just want to give them to them as a gift. And we just leave those in the comments below, and we'll take a look at those. And if there's enough interest, then we'll make sure that we make this happen. Well, folks, we're going to take a little bit of a break right here, and we're going to have a little bit more of Miss Connie here. And I'll tell you what, if you like this video, hit like. If you want to hear more of Connie's Urban Cowboy secrets, smash that subscribe button, and we'll be right back.
Yeah.